Hello, welcome, djvicvapor with you. I've got an instance of Ableton open. I've got some stems in here that I've been from a track I've been working on titled Galaxy, and I'll have a free download link in the description below. You can grab it off of my SoundCloud page if you like. But I've decided to give all these stems the Neutron, the Izotope Neutron treatment. I know there's about 5 million YouTube videos on Neutron, but I think it's pretty impressive. And it kind of goes without saying it'd be fun to see what kind of treatment it can give these stems. So let's do this first. Let me just kind of browse through some of the track and let you guys hear it. Now this is untreated. You know, it's got some balancing with the volume and stuff, but there's really no EQ work. There's nothing on any here. Let me show you. There's really nothing on any of these channels. There's just I've got this meter here that keeps me about 6 dB below, so I don't peak on anything. I typically do that when I stem out the tracks and get them prepared for mastering. I try to keep some headroom available for everyone that works on it after me. So, and that you'll find that on a few of the channels, maybe not all of them, but there's a few of them it's on. Yeah, it's just a few, but there's no, you can see there's no EQ work. There's nothing. Let me see if there's anything on the master. Yeah, there's an L2 and there is an EQ from Neutron. Let's get rid of that guy. And let's get rid of, you know what, I'll leave the L2 on there just to make sure we're getting good volume. So let's leave that on there for now. I don't mind having that. But let's take a quick listen here, basically an untreated track, and then we'll start going through some Neutron features and seeing what we can do to make it sound even better if it's possible. So here's what we got. I'll just play maybe a little bit and then I'll jump forward here and there. So. I'm going to go ahead and let it play all the way through for you. And then we'll get back to work and start giving it some Neutron treatment. All right, I'm going to stop it there, and we'll just kind of get started here with, let's look at the drum group and solo that, and let's start giving it some treatment and see what we come up with. So let me see what we've got with it just soloed. Let me loop a little. See if we can get a nice loop here, and then don't think I really need to worry about the drum fill. I want to be kind of organic and natural. So let's take a listen to the kick. Not too bad, but let's see what happens when we give it a little treatment here with Neutron. So I'm not going to really get into what Neutron is, how it works. I mean, honestly, there's way too many videos on YouTube telling us how all that stuff goes down. So just kind of follow along, and I'm just going to basically, I'm curious to see what kind of suggestions Track Assistant gives us, and then see if there's any masking that I can work out. So on the kick, let's see what Track Assistant says for us. So it looks like it gave it a little boost here on the low end, and then carved down probably, I'd say probably looks like around 30 and back. Then it dipped a little bit out of the mid-range, dipped a little bit out of this, or probably around 80 or so. Not too bad. I'm just going to leave it as it suggests. Then it gave it a little exciter and added some compression. 5-to-1, took it down a little bit there. And I am basically going to leave it alone because I'm just curious what kind of space this whole process will leave me with. So let me go down to the clap, and I'll just leave the kick going. And let's get it down here on our clap. Okay, Track Assist me. And again, it's give us a nice signal chain here. Equalizer, compressor 1, compressor 2. Equalizer's taking out some stuff here in between, a little bit after 2K. And right around between 2 and 4, and then a little shelf on the end there. And then we've got a little bump up and another little shelf on the low end here for the clap. So, and I noticed it set it with a dynamic EQ setting, so it's only going to dip when it exceeds. So let's see what the compressors have got going on here. 1.7, not bad. Got just a wee little mark off of 0. And what's compressor 2 doing? That's a little bit stronger. It's got 8-to-1. It's giving us almost, looks like a between 8 and 9 dB gain reduction there. And then a little exciter. Looks like it's gone with a tape and a warm. So interesting stuff. If anything else, it is a good teaching tool to show you where to focus on some possibilities. All right, so that's kick and clap. Let's see what we've got for a hat. I can imagine this is going to get a little bit more high end and possibly even some more exciters going. So. Even with the screen software going, I've got 3 instances and it's not hitting too hard. So that's another thing I want to keep an eye on, is how hard it's going to hit the CPU. Of course, we've got a long way to go. So like I expected, it's about kind of how I would have treated it. It took a lot of the low end off the hat, give a nice carve in the mid here, and dipped a little here and boosted between 2 and 4 again, and just a wee little high shelf there. I'm more curious to see what it did on the exciter. Give a nice low end high pass there. Warm and warm. Interesting. What's this compressor doing? So a little bit of compression going on here. Getting some gain reduction, so leave that guy alone. And let me hear this tambourine. I'm not so sure it needs any treatment. Yeah, let's see what happens. Okay, so again, we've gotten another shelf on the low end, a little boost right around probably 240 or so. And it's carved out a little bit here in the middle, and again, it's back on the dynamic side. 2 compressors again, and exciter. All right. So we've got almost the whole drum group. We've got a couple more here. We've got a perk. I'm going to leave the perk alone. I don't think it's just only in the song for a couple things. So let's listen to the top loop. All right, yeah, let me put something on this top loop and see what we get. It's pretty interesting. So it's carved out a little bit on that low end, boosted a little bit as well, brought down a little bit here, a little bit in around the 400, nice little boost over 200. Probably a little different than I would have approached it. I'm curious again on the exciter. Yeah, it's carved it out pretty good, and it's given it some pretty good, yeah, a little bit different than I would have treated it, but doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It's just interesting to see the process. So. But I don't think overall it sounds that bad for the drums, for the drum group. So, not too bad. Let's close that bad boy up and see what's next here. So I've got this synth dark growler. It's the same sound, it's just panned right and left, 2 channels there, and it works kind of works around itself a little bit. But I'm curious to see, because it's a real weird frequency. I'm kind of curious to see what Neutron will do with it. Let's find out. What is this? This might not work out well. Let's see what it does. I have a feeling it won't figure this out. Not too bad. Actually sounds better than I thought it was going to sound. Let's see if it does the same exact thing on the other channel. Because essentially it's the same sound. It's just panned. Actually, it looks like it's treating it a little different. Huh. Let's take a look at that. So there's both treatments of the same sound. They're just panned left and right. It's kind of interesting that it chose two different ways to treat that. I love this plugin, though. I'll be honest with you. I have nothing negative to really say about it. I think it's got a great teaching tool, and it's showed me a few ways to approach things that, even with all my years of experience, I wouldn't have thought of. That's unique, that the same sound is being treated differently. Interesting. Alright, so let's move on. What we got here? Breakdown. I don't know if this is playing. I think it's right in there. Oh, that's the verb. I'm not going to treat that. This one right here is just a reverb effect for both of those growlers. So there's really not a whole lot you're going to hear there. It's just a kind of a send and return effect. So let's go down to the actual breakdown here. I wondered why I wasn't hearing anything. This is what we're after. And again, it's going to be a right and left on the breakdown, kind of the same sound, doing kind of opposite of what the other synth part was doing. They're panned opposite of that. So let's see what happens with this. Breakdown 1, track assist. I feel like this is cheating. All the years you work so hard to become familiar with ways to EQ. It almost feels too easy. But again, I don't really look at this like it's 100% correct. More or less it guides me to think of frequencies I wouldn't have thought of or heard maybe. So that's interesting. Compressor. Actually, it's dipping pretty good there. And the exciter. All right. Let's see if it does the same thing for us or if it does something different. You can see both of those. I'll open them both up. They're right there. They're the same exact sound. There's nothing different other than it's panned. It's all. Only thing that's different is that it's panned. All right, so this is breakdown. Gotta learn how to spell. 2. Let's see if you get silly here. Now you can start to see we've got about 7 or 8 of them open. I'm getting up to almost 40% CPU hit, and there's nothing else. There's no, all these are audio tracks. This is the stems, so there's no other synths running or anything. It's pure Neutron, so it can be a little heavy once you start to add some different instances of it. Let me see how that. See, it's done it again. That's kind of crazy. It's taking the same sound, and the only thing that's different is they're panned, but it's treating them different. That's getting interesting. That's kind of that's interesting for sure. All right, so enough of that noise. Let's move on. Main chords. Where are you guys? You are back here. Alright, so it's taking a little low end off, taking a little muddiness out of the middle and high shelf that side. And looks like a little bit of, dynamic on 1. What do you want? You got a 8 dB of gain reduction. That's a lot more than I thought it needed. It's a pretty quiet sound. Interesting. So anyhow, you can see the Neutron is a pretty, big advantage and definitely quick hitter for workflow. Let me open up. Let me stop this guy. I'm going to open up a 1.6. Yeah, I think that's the one we want. No. I'm going to open up the final mastering stage that it was on. And again, for those of you watching, if you like it, I'm going to give it a playthrough now and show you kind of what the final result was from me doing a few things to it earlier. And if you like everything, feel free. I'm kind of curious, what was this? Oh, I just turned everything off. It's my mastering chain right there. So if you like everything you're hearing, as it plays through, I'll show you the mastering chain. I won't really talk much about it, but I'll just open everything up to kind of show you, and you can see the flow there. Ozone 7, Neutron equalizer, frequency analyzer, Moloch compressor, the L2, and Fab filter Pro Q. So that's kind of the final mastering chain, but this is the waveform. Let's turn that off and we'll hear it real quick. And that's with no treatment other than what I'd done to EQ it and get it ready for this stage. So anyhow, I'll give it a full playthrough. And what I was trying to say, I think earlier, was if it's a track you like, if it's something you're interested in, I'm happy to have it available on SoundCloud as a free download. It has been sent out for mastering and probably will be released, I would say, in a few months. There's some remixes being done, some vocals being added and things like that. But while it lasts on SoundCloud, I'm going to go ahead and let it go for free. I think there's the first 100 downloads or something like that, because I've never paid for the professional SoundCloud page. I don't see any need to, because half the time you put something up there, they reject it. So I'm not going to give them too much support. Anyhow, if you guys want it, it'll be available to download on SoundCloud, and I'll put a link in the description below. But I'm going to hit play and start going through the mastering chain and let you guys see kind of what that looks like for us. And you can see how small the actual waveform itself looks. And that's from using, staying about 5 or 6 dB below on all my channels on my stems, keeping all that headroom available for the mastering engineer when you send it out. That way they can really, they've got plenty of room to kind of get in and manipulate and do whatever they need to do. So hope you guys enjoy it. I'm going to go through this right now, and we'll see what happens. So there you have it. Galaxy, and a look at Neutron, Izotope's new Neutron, and give me a quick sneak peek at that mastering chain as well. So hopefully you learned something new and got some information that's helpful in your productions. And again, feel free to download Galaxy, kind of while supplies last, as they say. I don't know how long it'll be up there on SoundCloud, but I'll make sure I try to keep it up there as long as possible. So probably until the record label says take it down, but hey, that's not my problem. All right, guys, have a good day. Thanks for push and play. Thanks for tuning in, and peace.